and welcome to another episode of Website Success. I'm Chrissy Ray, and today we are tackling crisis management during website downtime. At some point, your website is going to go down. It's just an unfortunate reality for digital spaces. It's going to happen. So let's unpack how to handle it effectively. First, let's clarify what website downtime means. It's when your website isn't accessible to your audience. And this could be due to a number of reasons, such as your hosting service might be experiencing problems, or a recent update to your site could have broken something, or your website just can't handle a sudden surge in traffic. It could even be a problem on your end, so the website doesn't load over your network or in your browser. And knowing the root cause of the website being down is important for a swift resolution. When you first discover that your website is down, the first thing to do is stay calm. Then check to see if there are other websites down. It could just be a problem with your internet. This has happened to me a few times. Visit a few websites and see if any of them are also down. If everything is down, you'll probably need to troubleshoot your internet connection. It could be an outage with your internet service provider, the router in your home or office, or something like that. Or if you're using your phone, it could just be a mobile outage. So always check that first. After you rule out a problem with your internet connection, check to see if the website is down just for you or if it's down for everyone. You can do this by checking the website from another network. So if you're on your phone, this is something that I do, then I'll check on my computer. Or if I'm on my computer, then I'll disconnect my phone from the Wi-Fi and then check the website from the phone. And if it works, then there's a good chance that it's just that particular network that's having the issues. You can also use a service like isitdownrightnow.com, and it'll tell you if the website is down for them. If the website is only down for you or for your network, then you will need to troubleshoot your device or your network. And it could be something like a setting on your device, such as the entry in the hosts file, which is a little bit technical, or it could be that your IP address was somehow blocked by the server. And that can sometimes happen if you're using security software on the website. So you want to check with that. And you can get in touch with your web hosting provider because they might be able to help you troubleshoot why the site isn't loading for you, but it is loading for other people. I will note with this, a lot of web hosting companies have horrible support. So I generally only recommend companies that I know will at least try to help clients if they run into issues like this. So before you set up your web hosting, always check those reviews to make sure that they have great support. All right, so let's say that we've checked to make sure that the website isn't loading for anybody. The next thing you'll do is check to see if your hosting provider has a status page. For example, Kinsta, which is one of the hosts that I use, they have status.kinsta.com, where they share the status of all of their services. If there's a known issue with their services, they're going to update that website and let people know. There's a really good chance that your hosting provider has a status page. And if they do, check that first, because if there is a problem with their services, they are probably going to be inundated with support requests. So contacting them about your website could take hours. Plus, they're probably already working on it. There might not be anything they can do to help you directly until they address the problem for everyone. If your hosting provider doesn't have a status page or the status page is down, because if all of their services are down, there's a good chance that their status page is down, then check their social media to see if they're having issues with their service. If you can't find any info about a known outage with your web hosting provider, reach out to their tech support. Once again, this is where great support is critical. I've helped clients with websites hosted by many different providers, and the support experiences have been all over the place. Some providers will only do support by email. Some will provide phone or chat support, but they first send you through a gauntlet of automated responses before finally putting you into a queue where it can take an hour or more to finally connect with a real person. When you do get in touch with support, be prepared to give them as many details as you can. Take screenshots of any error messages you get when you're trying to visit the website and tell them about any testing that you already did before you reached out to them. They should be able to determine if the issue is with their services, the domain name, or maybe even an error on your website. Now, depending on what they find, your web hosting provider might not actually be able to fix the issue. For example, if it's an error caused by a third party feature on your website, like if you're on a WordPress website, a plugin, they probably can't do anything about it. And as I mentioned, WordPress, this does sometimes happen with WordPress websites. So you do have to be especially careful about doing your software updates. I actually have a class on updating WordPress websites at websitesuccessacademy.com for this very reason, because it can be really tricky. Now, if there is an error with your DNS, then your web hosting provider should be able to point you to the DNS provider support. If you don't know who your DNS provider is, they should be able to tell you that. And then you can go to the DNS provider to help you troubleshoot that problem. If the website is down because of an issue with the hosting provider, they should be able to fix it for you. So, for example, if a database server went down or a web server went down, then they should be able to bring that back up and troubleshoot the issue to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Now, at some point in this process, you should communicate with your audience to let them know that you know the website is down and that you're working on getting it back up and running as usual. You can do this by sharing the information on social media, assuming that isn't also down, which has happened in the past. But you might also want to send an email out to your mailing list to let them know about the website being down. But whether or not you do that really depends on your website. For example, if your website has important customer information that they might need to access while it's down, like appointment or order info, then you might want to notify them by email. But if your website is a blog, your audience might not need that email if your website's going to be down for a few hours. However, if the site is going to be down for an extended period of time, an email might be in order. By the way, if your website is down because of an outage with your web hosting provider, and they're also your email service provider or the place where you store your email list, you might have a big problem. And that's part of why I recommend avoiding all in one services that include your website, email marketing, etc. If one of them goes down, there's a possibility they will all go down, and then you're going to be in a bind. Now, to avoid future downtime, you need to be proactive. Use a website monitoring tool like Uptime Robot or Pingdom. They'll notify you the moment your site goes down so you can start troubleshooting right away. If you're using WordPress for your website, you should also make sure that you're creating regular backups. Some hosting providers automatically create backups for you, but I recommend also creating offsite backups. That way, if the issue is with the hosting provider, you can move the site somewhere else if you need to, or you can just get access to the backup that isn't already affected by the hosting service. Also, make sure you're running software updates on a regular basis, again, if you're using WordPress, and actually check the site after you run them to make sure nothing is broken. Those offsite backups and software updates are something that my company does as part of our maintenance plans. So if you have a WordPress website and think you might need help with those, then reach out to me. In closing, remember that dealing with website downtime can be stressful, but being well prepared makes all the difference. Equip yourself with the right tools, have a solid plan, and maintain open lines of communication with your audience. And remember, every problem has a solution. Your website will eventually be back online. For more resources and tips on managing your website effectively, don't forget to go to websitesuccessacademy.com and make sure you join the Website Success Lounge on Facebook for more insights and support. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.